Maybe it's time for the Colts to get one of these great Georgia defensive linemen. After all, their best players are in the twilights of their career. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Colts, your daily Indianapolis Colts podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome to Locked On Colts on the Locked On Podcast Network. I am your host, Jake Arthur, the Indianapolis Colts beat writer for Roundtable Sports. And today we are continuing our Prospect Spotlight series with a player who is not too commonly linked to the Colts in mock drafts. I think it's because he is a position that's not necessarily one of great need for the Colts, and he's kind of a top 50 player. So people don't always project him to being available to the Colts. But we are going to Georgia and defensive tackle Christen Miller. Now, the Colts have met with him or will be soon meeting with Miller for an official pre-draft visit. And over these next, the next week and a half or so, Zach and I really want to zero in on players that the Colts have shown some level of interest in, so that if they do hear their names called by the Colts, we're to kind of have a catalog of information to go to you guys here and say, here's what we know about this guy so far. Enjoy. So we're going to go ahead and go with, again, a defensive tackle prospect. You don't hear a lot about that with the Colts super early. When I look at multi-round mock drafts, I see them usually sometime in day 3. Zach and I have kind of broached the subject with the 3rd round in our mock draft that we did on Monday. He had Dominique Orange in the 3rd round. I've talked about Darrell Jackson Jr. from Florida State a lot. But I think it's a very real possibility if there's a defensive tackle that the Colts really like at 47 in the 2nd round that they will go in that direction. I do know they were open to the idea of doing defensive tackle early last year. We'll talk about it more in depth of why it makes sense for the Colts, but just in the most general terms, you look at DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart. They're both 32 years old. Adetomiwa Adebawore, Colby Wooden, Derek Nottie, Jerry Tillery, all these guys are entering the final years of their contract. So the defensive tackle group for the Colts could look vastly different when we're looking at it this time next year. So it's been high time for them to get eventual starting level talent into this group. And now I think it's paramount. I think it's very difficult for you to have to wait on it anymore, because defensive tackle, it's not a position you just drop down on the field and they're really good to go from the start. Some of them are, but in the most common sense, these guys take at least a couple years to really start to scratch the surface. So I think it's time for the Colts to address it. Now let's look at Christen Miller as a prospect. Like I mentioned, the Colts are already meeting with him, and I could see what they're interested in. He's 6'4", 321 pounds, 11-inch arms with 10-inch hands. 21 years old right now, will be 22 when the season begins. So, you're looking at a big guy. He's big, he's sturdy, he's tough to move. He's got plenty of power with good athleticism as well. Again, he's a young ascending player still. Like many Georgia defensive linemen, you are getting a guy with a special blend of, size, power, athleticism. You are also getting a guy who has had a driving infraction back in 2023, speeding. It seems like he has learned from that. He addressed that at the combine, but of course had to get that out of the way. I mentioned he's an ascending player. He's been a starter for 2.5 years. Like most nose tackles, he's not going to be a statistically gaudy player. 11.5 tackles for loss and 4 sacks over the last 3 years. The good news is no real injuries to note, nothing that's cost him much time. As a player, just right off the bat, I think he gets a decent snap off the ball. It's not like elite, but he is ready to go right away. I think he plays with pretty decent pad level. His attention always is on the ball in the backfield. I think he's got really good hand usage. I mentioned he's got big hands, long arms, plenty of power in those hands. He just kind of sifts blockers away. If you're not coming at him correct and you're coming with a weak block attempt, he's going to be able to kind of shoo you away. Those long arms also allow him to keep blockers away and at bay while he kind of sets guys up to stack and shed and fall down on the ball carrier. I like the way he kind of processes that. For a big guy, I think he's got pretty good lateral balance. He could go from shooting to the outside to kind of stopping quickly and crashing down on the inside if the running lane changes. So I think he shows some good athleticism and balance there. He is not really known, or probably going to be known, as like a supreme interior rusher. He did get taken off the field quite a bit on third downs there at Georgia. But he's got a pass rush win rate of 11.3%, which isn't bad. It's about top 20% or top 20 for draft eligible defensive tackles in this year's class. So he's in the upper portion of that group. Some ticks on him. He could be a little slow identifying, change of direction plays, counter, option, play action, that stuff. He could just be a hair late to it. That stuff, I think, just you get more adept at it as you get more playing time and as you become a veteran. So that's not really something I'm overly concerned about. He does need to work on figuring out how to get out of double teams, because if you get two guys on him, you're usually going to be able to kind of take him out. And, you're working, if you're going to the Colts, you're working with guys like DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart. You'll pretty much learn a master class in how to split double teams there. So in that instance, if he does come to the Colts, I am quite optimistic he will be taught how to fix that issue. He does not always get into the backfield with a plan. I have found it's like a lot of times if he, he's pretty quick, he's good, like I mentioned, with his hands and his feet. If he gets into the backfield and just has like free reign at the running back or quarterback, sometimes it's like he just shoots right by him. So it's almost like maybe if he wasn't expecting to win so easily, that he just doesn't have an immediate reaction to what he's supposed to be doing. But we'll just call it over pursuit, I guess, sometimes when he gets into the backfield. So I guess just better attention to detail when he does kind of crack the line. As a player, when I've been looking around, I think the most common comparisons I see are to Kenny Clark, the former Green Bay Packers nose tackle, and Milton Williams, formerly of the Eagles, now with the New England Patriots. So we talked about Christen Miller a good bit as a player and a prospect. So how specifically does he fit with the Indianapolis Colts? We'll talk about that in just a moment. Workplace chaos, deadlines are stacking up, the inbox is overflowing, and that one position that you have to fill is just still sitting wide open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed, sponsored jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping that the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute that I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing these guys with less stress, less time, and more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of the show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help you get the premium status that it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And it's tax time. Tax day is pretty much here. But for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is a lot. Trying to book an appointment that's not the most convenient. Sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers, emailing back and forth and wondering if they even really get your situation. But this year, you're getting a major upgrade because Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. That means you can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app right on the spot. And just like that, you're all done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar that you deserve while you get real-time notifications as you just go about your day. It's the relief of walking in and meeting a real person and walking out knowing that your taxes are being handled right. Head to TurboTax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment. And the NBA playoffs are finally here, where every possession matters, every matchup is magnified, and every game can swing a series. And right now, FanDuel is giving customers a great way to get in on the action. Here's what I like about it. It means you could just bet $5 and get 250 back in bonus bets if that bet wins. The app makes it super easy to follow all the action with player stats, trends, and matchups all in one place. And during the playoffs, that extra insight really matters when you're looking at stars, role players, and key moments. It just makes that entire playoff experience more engaging from start to finish. So head to FANDUEL.com to get started. FANDUEL, play your game. All right, welcome back, everybody. We are continuing today with our Prospect Spotlight series, talking about Georgia defensive tackle Christen Miller. Now, where will the Colts have to take Miller? This isn't like the most sterling defensive tackle group we've seen in recent years. It's fine, it's solid, but it's not one that everyone's hanging a banner about necessarily. So you got your like Kalen McDonald's. Caleb Banks was a guy a lot of people liked up until the latest foot issue. Christen Miller is in most people's top 3 as well. So if you're going to get him, you're almost certainly going to have to go get him at pick 47. That's the Colts pick there in the second round. If you trade back, I don't know if you're going to be able to get him. I think he's pretty widely considered a top 50 player for most people. I think for the Colts, again, he's ready to contribute right away as a run defender. He needs more time to develop as a pass rusher and just, again, learning how to disengage from those blocks, those double teams especially, and becoming a reliable every down player. I think his timeline for what he needs to become a really solid player matches up well with the Colts. Right now, you're not looking for anyone to start over DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart, but you do need guys to rotate in there more often. We already know they've gotten Colby Wooden. Adetomiwa Adebawore is solid, and he's getting better all the time. But you don't have much behind Grover Stewart. You have Tim Smith and Derek Nottie. Smith was a 6th-round pick last year, or a final-round pick last year, who spent his rookie season on the practice squad. And then Derek Nottie is just kind of around for vibes at this point. Not the most prolific player you're going to see. Even, the Chiefs kept re-signing him, but ultimately they let him walk this year. So you have very little depth behind Grover Stewart. I think with the run game taking priority again across the NFL lately, you're seeing more prevalence on the heavy personnel as well. Guys like Christen Miller are critical. I think it also helps your linebackers, which the Colts linebackers desperately need help as well. They're going to have more space to pursue, and they don't get taken out as much by blockers because, like, right now I see Christen Miller as a really solid run defender. Again, he's got that good lateral mobility. He can eat up blocks as well. Like, he may get stuck on double teams, but he's going to take a guy away from that offensive line. So, again, you're going to have more room to pursue if you're the linebackers, if you're the slot defender. So a guy like that is really, really good. And while you're not counting on him to start necessarily over Grover Stewart, of course, I think if he's able to win that competition to be like the next one tech up, then he's still going to play quite a bit. So I think he's going to be able to earn the playing time necessary to make him a good player. And I mean, we'll see. Marion Hobby, the Colts' new D-line coach, he had DJ Reader there with the Bengals. This could be a somewhat comparable player, except for I think Miller is probably a little more athletic, a little more explosive than Reader was. So I'm real interested to see if the Colts were able to get a guy like Miller, what that would look like. Is defensive tackle the Colts' most urgent need? No. But I know that Chris Ballard would not hesitate 1 second to get an impactful interior defensive lineman if the opportunity presented itself. Again, like I mentioned, I know they were entertaining that early last year as well. So this is a very real possibility, I think. Again, the Colts have met with Miller, or they are meeting soon. I didn't really get specificity on when that meeting took place, but I think this does make sense. And especially if for some reason he were to tumble and he was there at 78, or was starting to slide looking into the third round, he's a guy I think would be worth even trading up for. So Christen Miller to the Colts, quite interesting again, but you're looking at a defense where you're just trying to add good players. So at a certain point, positional value or need, the value of need has to kind of go out the door when you're just looking to create a good defense. So Christen Miller to the Colts, I'm all for it. You guys in the comments, let me know what you think. Thanks for tuning in today to Locked On Colts on this Prospect Spotlight series. Zach and I will be with you again shortly for our regular episode. And then tonight, we will be with you with Derek Schultz and Alan Pinkett for the Locked On Colts Squad Show. Make sure that you subscribe to our show so that you get all of the latest episodes. If you don't already, follow at Locked On Colts, at Jake Arthur NFL, and at Zach Hicks 2 on social media. Don't forget to check out the Every Dare Club for ad-free audio episodes and access to a group chat with Zach, me, and other listeners of the show. Tap the link in our show notes or go to lockedoncolts.supercast.com to join the fun today. And with that, thank you guys, and we'll see you here in just a little bit.